term that he couldn't think of the American?
Spritzigkeit.
Yeah, what is it? Translate that for us?
Spritzigkeit is explosive, quickness. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, explosiveness, quickness. Yeah.
So
How did he look with the group the first day?
It's good, I mean, it's always different when you're, coming into a new team and so forth, trying to get used to your surroundings and what's up. But, he was fine. I asked him if he wanted to go through the whole training today, since he just flew in yesterday. And he said, no, he felt pretty good. And I said, so we talked at each segment of training. How do you feel? No, I want to keep going. And so he got through all the training and, did the shooting at the end as well, partnered up with Kasky for that. So it was good.
best case scenario, when's he ready to go 90 minutes, you think?
Well, we need to get to P1. I mean, he went through the majority of preseason with Kaiserslautern. So when he was back there, he was training with them consistently. So he's been training all the way through. I think last Thursday or something. So it's not like he hasn't had a preseason. So he has had a preseason. So Dave will get some. They'll be able to tell today, looking at his information, his heart rate information, and his GPS and so forth. We'll have an idea of where he's at.
Fans hate to hear they have to wait for P1. I mean, for those that aren't exactly sure, what that means and how long it takes.
It varies. It varies based on on the individual player. It varies on the government. How fast it goes through. I mean, it's paperwork type of thing. So it's something you hope for the best and hope it goes as quickly as possible, but you're never quite sure. So what we've learned is you just don't predict anything. We keep our fingers crossed, and when it happens, it happens. But right now our expectations are not that he's going to be available for this upcoming weekend. Or anything like that, but you never know. Maybe something happens.
You mentioned at Colorado that the result was good, particularly because of the potential distraction that Friday could have been. Can you talk a little bit about that, about this time of year, about players going and coming and seeing friends going?
Well, I mean, anytime you have a player leaving the team who's been with the team for a while, it's obviously, I mean, it hurts, and because you're losing a friend, you're losing somebody who's been part of your family. It's like even if your mother-in-law stays with you for a period of time, you sort of miss her when she leaves for a little bit, and then you don't. But no, it's a situation. Don't use that. You guys are going to get me in trouble with all the mother-in-laws in the world. So that was probably a bad analogy. But no, it's like you learn early on too. As a young coach, you learned early on that when you're having tryouts for teams and you make cuts to try and make those decisions as soon as possible, because the longer you keep somebody with the team, the more they feel that they're losing somebody who's become part of the team. And so having had to go through that on Friday, with Flacco, with the way our league works with trades, so it becomes a sort of a sudden situation. It's difficult for all the guys. It's difficult because it's like one day to the next, and all of a sudden this happened, and you got to refocus on your job, and you have to be a good pro. And I thought our team showed a good mentality coming back from that.
Was it part of it, or how much of a part of it was finding the right place for Alvaro, or was it just a matter of finding someone that was willing to kind of take?
Well, I mean, our ideal thing was we didn't want to have to give Flacco away. That was the ideal thing. That was the first thing we were trying to work on, is how can we add Christian and not lose Flacco? So we looked at different possibilities there, explored different options with the league there. Second option was maybe, hey, can we loan Flacco out so we don't lose his rights, where maybe we're only loaning him out for a half a season and then we can bring him back again. And, that was determined that was something we couldn't do as well. And so then, it became a situation of, okay, let's see what's a deal that we can make within the league that makes sense for us. And, with us being up against the cap, allocation money was something that was important to us as well.
So the league told you couldn't loan Flacco?
It was a question, and Adrian can go more into the rule specific of it as to why we couldn't do that. Yeah.
Is it for a league that always talks about progress? It's kind of a situation like this where you forced your hand to get rid of a player you didn't want to just to make a change?
I think it's more complicated than that, so I don't know, all the things, but it definitely, has to do with each team's allowed only 3 DPs, and so if you're loaning out a DP, does that mean you're controlling a 4th DP, on the outside? What kind, so again, you know, he was in those conversations, and you know, and the decision at that time was that we can't do at this time, but it's something I know that they're probably going to discuss as they move forward.
Do you feel like Christian ultimately changes things that this team can do, or do you feel like it's more of just bolstering what you guys are already doing?
I mean, anytime you add a player, you know, you add his strengths and weaknesses to your team as well, you know, and obviously he's a midfielder who's got some vision, who can see things going forward, you know, he's got a decent shot, you know, he's a good crosser of the ball because he played as a winger for a lot of years as well, you know, and he's very comfortable on the right. And in fact, when I first saw him play when he was a young player with Stuttgart, that's where he played. He came in often as a right winger, sometimes even on the left. You know, so he adds that vision, he adds that ability to cross balls and find people to our team. And you know, our big thing is, you know, where we want to get better at is being able to maintain possession in the opponent's end of the field and keep pressure on the opponent. And obviously, you know, if we can get a little better at making those final passes, makes us more dangerous.
Looking at the game on Thursday, kind of, how is this tournament, explain, I guess, to the fans how this tournament is important for this team, or why it's important for this team.
It's important because, you know, it's our international tournament. It's our Champions League. It's our opportunity to show how good we are in and within our region. It gives us the opportunity to go to the World Club Championship and to get into the group of 8. I mean, I think you look at last year when we played against Santos, you know, certainly the win at home was a big confidence booster for us, and the game down there was a big learning experience for us as well. But if we could have gotten past that game, you know, matched up with Toronto, gotten to the final, you know, it would have been a huge thing for our club. So this is the beginning of that journey. And being recognized within your region, I think, is very important for our league as well. You know, because it's definitely, you know, I can say it's a power struggle between Mexico and the U.S. as to who's the dominant country in our region. That power struggle gets played out at the national team level, and then it gets played out at the club level as well. You know, and the only place it gets played out at the club level is in the Champions League. You know, and the other countries, you know, whether it's Honduras or Trinidad, that's their thing as well. They have a chance here to make a name for themselves.
Is this the most prestigious trophy y'all compete for?
For sure within our region. I mean, MLS, winning the MLS Cup is certainly highly important and a high priority for this team. But in terms of international soccer and international recognition, you know, being able to win the Champions League is going to bring you the most awareness of all the trophies we play for.
Did Bernie get through the game okay?
Yeah, he got through the game fine.
In Evans's sounded like he said it was more of an altitude issue.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an altitude issue and just, you know, dehydration and fatigue. And so forth. So after the game as well, they hooked him up to an IV just to get some fluids back into him, and then he was fine.
Anything change on the Mario Martinez? Is that the right name in that situation? Not yet.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still working. We're still working towards that one, you know. But you know, hopefully.
Is there a type of style that you expect to see out of Caledonia on Thursday?
You know, they're probably the team right now going into the Champions League that we're going into the most blind of anyone we have, because they are not in their season yet. So they're like in their preseason, they haven't really played games. They've changed their roster, so they've got different personnel than they had. You know, we've seen certain clips of past games that they've played, but a lot of those are with players that aren't on the team right now. You know, so we're in the midst of gathering information right now, talking to people that we feel can give us some information and some insight on the club.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Me preguntaron si podría hacer un anuncio y pensé que era porque yo juego para los Seattle Sounders. No puedo porque mi inglés no es muy bueno. That's true. Entonces me dijeron que el anuncio era de padres, niños y familias. Eso es muy importante para mí y le dije que yo hago lo que puedo hacer. No importa cuál idioma tú hablas, hay un idioma universal que nuestros niños comprenden y necesitan. Y es el amor y el cariño de los padres. Be a good parent and stay involved in your child's life.